Hello, welcome to my first video. I say my first video, I did the reviews for 2025 of my top 5 albums of the year, the reissues and just vinyls I just bought in 2025 really. So basically today I now have 3 copies of Tango in the Night. And basically thought about just doing a comparison video really, yeah, a couple of days ago I just sat with all these, just put them on that side A really. Should do the whole thing if I was being pedantic about it, but I think you can get a general idea of each version's differences with these. So I now have this one, which is the newest one, Rhino Reserve. Imported, cut by Matthew Lutherans at the Mastering Lab, and pressed at Fidelity Record Pressings, and it goes somewhere between $30 and by the time we get it, it's like £35 in the UK on import. So yeah, like I said, I got this a couple of days ago really, so I'll be going through them anyway. And then I also have an original DMM from 1987, DMM being direct metal mastering, sorry. And yeah, it's a great copy really. I put it through the Humming Guru as it was in need of a bit of a clean, but I think I bought this like over a year ago. Just for really just something to have. I saw this album like £6 I think it was at the time. And yeah, it's fine for what it is really. You'll probably get an idea of terms of the scores that I'm going through this. But yeah, I thought I'd share them all really. And then the last one is the heaviest. Is my Mo-Fi copy. 2x45, which incidentally does come out rather well on the camera. They all got these little differences of the colour art, where I think actually the Mo-Fi is oversaturated, because you can see the redness on the plants here. I just went, it's a little bit too much, I'll be honest. This has got a bit of a backstory, this copy, because I'd originally bought it, I think, in February of last year, and it arrived and stuff, and there was a bit of an outpouring towards from the Steve Hoffman forums specifically on the first side of things being a bit of a mispress. It sounded dull, it didn't sound good at all really, and it wasn't until you put it on B side that you went, oh actually it's not all bad. So it was just a case of having the right copy, I guess. So in the end, a few months later, I say a few months, they actually started to produce them right away. So they redid it. They went back, repressed it. In fact, they recut. They recut it twice. They did repress it, of course, but they also recut it. So they recut it twice, because you can tell on the runouts there is an A, and then a number. And the number next to that is the amount of copies that they've done of that cut. And the original was an A5. This is now an A7 with this copy, because what they did was they sent them, and internationally it was a real pain. In the end, I had to contact Mo-Fi themselves in order to get the distributor to send the copies out to the place I bought this from, which is my local record shop. And yeah, just a bit of a pain really. And I think I must have got it eventually in July, 5 odd months or so I think down the line. And I was, it was okay, and I've got the new one now. And yeah, I guess it's alright, but you're paying £80-90 for mistakes and things, and I was just kind of annoyed with it really. So there we go. So basically, I would say overall on these, the Rhino Reserve is actually the better copy. It was, like I say, £35 compared to the 80 and then the 6 of the original, but the original being in 1987. I mean, this is what we have now. If, you go back and you listen to original sound, yeah, that sounds perfectly fine. But in comparison, I mean, it's flat. It doesn't have the detail that the newer ones have in terms of remasters. Of course, the Mo-Fi, in terms of what it does now, is they run it through DSD 256. So they actually, when they record the tape, they record it on digital format, and then cut that digital format playback back onto the lacquer to be stamped onto the vinyl. So I think things may lose there, really. I don't know. If you're really into it, it can be paranoia, like placebo effect maybe, of the digital versus analog debate that I'm not going to go down. You can somewhat tell it though, I think, because the Rhino Reserve is all analog, and the differences are just the nuances, the little details, the for want of a better word, the je ne sais quoi, I thought was just nice. And you listen to Everywhere, A3. And you get this really nice sort of effect that was the original intention, I'm sure, of like the little sort of goosebumpy feeling you get when you hear it and things, and it's just really nice. Which you almost get with the Mo-Fi, and you get the soundstage with the Mo-Fi. You get the drums, you get the beat on it and things, really, and it almost is a little bit, it's good for the mids as well, the Mo-Fi, whereas the Rhino is dipped in the mids a little bit, but makes up for it either side of it, I think. It's tricky to know how to really master an album, I would have said. Because of the original intention versus how you want it to sound versus how somebody else will hear it on their setup and things. So there's a lot of variables. And I'm happy I've got all three now to compare. It's not like saying, oh, I should have bought the third one by saying, well, it's just not good enough and I want to return one of them. No, there's different little things. I was actually last night comparing my copies of, I've got Doors, and I've got Doors' Greatest Hits on Rhino Reserve, which includes LA Woman on it, and I've also got Doors' LA Woman, the album, on Analog Production, and the Greatest Hits is a Rhino Reserve as well. And I was comparing it going, I thought the EQ, because I've got an EQ setup, I've got a stack, basically, EQ, preamp and everything else. And I turned the EQ off because I was recording it, and I went, ooh, the Rhino Reserve sounds really good compared to the Analog Productions at the moment with the EQ off. But that's because it's not my setup, really, mainly. So it does rather well. And I've just got a new cartridge. I've got the Audio Technica VM745ML, which I'll put all my spec in the description below. And it's brand new. I got it on Friday, and I've probably worn it in about 10 hours now at this point. It's defining its bass, I would have said at the moment. It's settling in, and it's just, I think it's getting there, really. As of last night, I put some other stuff on just to find out what the bass was like. I have a few reference records that I can use in terms of a system thing, saying, does this sound good? and if it does, everything's perfect. Is everything there? You know, the bass, everything else, and things that I've been using for years, really, on different setups. So yeah, bit of a ramble, and I'm just really happy that I've got the Rhino Reserve, because I just think, yeah, it's a better version of it. Yes, it doesn't have the soundstage of it, but it has the little details on it. And actually, the artwork is, I think, the best version of this, as you probably noticed with the fact that the plants aren't so lively. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, like I said, and I mean, if you're gonna, if we're grading things in terms of saying, is this the best you can get? Yes, for the time being. I would give this probably an 8 out of 10. I don't normally do ratings, so it's really tricky to get this sort of sorted out. I mean, difference between audio and music and things like that people do. I mean, I love this album. I've got several other Fleetwood Mac things which are over there. And yeah, I'm just really happy I bought it, like I said. And I didn't wait 5 months for a repressed copy of this version here, and then the DMM that I had. I think I bought this before I bought this, but I actually can't quite remember. Yeah, a little bit beaten up, and not quite the liveliness on the cover and things. And like I said, it plays fine. The drums aren't there in comparison. The bass isn't there and things. And it doesn't have that sense of wonder that the Rhino Reserve has either. So the detail and things. But like I say, we're talking 1987. I'm surprised it wasn't transparent, to be honest, judging by some thin copies of the 80s. Anyway, I will leave it there, really. And hopefully I shall be back doing more comparisons shortly. Nice. And thank you for watching.